Hey everyone, it's Rabbi Shmuel Pollen. I want to welcome you back if you've already been here. And I want to talk to you today about overcoming temptation because maybe you have a full blown addiction to alcohol or cocaine or some substance like that. Or maybe you just have a bad habit like grinding your teeth or biting your nails. Or maybe you're constantly breaking your diets, you're not keeping to them because you can't resist the chocolate cake that your husband bought or that your wife bought. It's all part of temptation, and it's all part of what life is all about. It's the very first story in the Bible is the temptation to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil by Adam and Eve. And they failed that test. And that plunged history into all the misery that it has become. It's all because of that temptation and their inability to pass that test. And each one of us is another Adam and Eve, and we're given that same kind of test every single day. Each of us are tempted by something, and we need to overcome that test if we're going to change the course of history and make it into a paradise the way it was meant to be. It was meant to be a paradise, and they got booted from paradise. Um, Temptation is as natural as the air we breathe. It's the fabric of creation. It's what God made us for, to overcome temptation. That's why this video is everything. It's why God put us on this earth. And the first mistake that you could make is to think that it's wrong that you have temptations, that you're bad. You're not bad. It doesn't come from you. It comes from the outside. It comes from Satan. It comes from different sources. But the fact that you have the temptation is nothing to do with you. What has to do with you is entertaining it and indulging in it. That's the problem. That is your fault. That is your responsibility. And that's what we're going to fix in this video. And we're going to go through like 5 or 6 different ideas, strategies about how to overcome temptation. And the first one is protect your home. Your brain is your home, and you have the ability to let in who you want to let in and kick out who you want to kick out. So there was a man who had these tremendous, persistent negative thoughts, and he didn't know who to go to. And someone recommended that he go to this mystic, the Alter Rebbe. He went miles and miles away to get to him. And when he did, he knocks on the door and nobody answers. He knocks on the door again, nobody answers. He knocks and knocks and knocks for an entire hour until he passes out in the cold. And eventually, at that point, the mystic opens the door and lets him in and asks him what he wants, what he needs help with. And he says he needs help with the persistent negative thoughts that are creeping into his mind all of the time. And he said, I just showed you the answer to that question. You have your answer because you were knocking on that door for an entire hour and I didn't budge. I didn't let you in because I didn't want to let you in. And that was your lesson to learn how, as an adult, as a man or a woman, you have to be responsible for your brain. You have to be responsible for your mind. You have to protect it. It says in the Bible, set up officers and judges. You have to have officers and judges and decide what thoughts I'm letting in and what thoughts I'm kicking out. That's your responsibility. You must do that. So protect your home. Your home is your sanctuary. Nobody will protect it for you. You have to make the effort to decide what comes in and what goes out. The second idea that is helpful for addiction is to realize the absurdity of the situation, because we hear so many good thoughts from Facebook, from memes, from social media, from wherever about how we should be better to each other, we should spend more time in nature, we should exercise more, we should eat better, should eat vegetarian, you should eat Mediterranean diet, whatever it is. And so often, most of the time, these thoughts are just seen and abandoned. They're seen and then they're left. But the negative thoughts, as soon as we have one thought that we need to like look at this on the computer, it's like taken so seriously. Why didn't we take it so seriously when they were good thoughts? Why did we only take it seriously when they're negative thoughts? And the negative thoughts, like we must do it. We have to do it. This thought came into my head. I must pursue it. No, negative thoughts can come into your head and go by the wayside just as easily. You don't have to entertain them. You don't have to latch onto them. They can just pass like ships in the night. And you should do more with the good thoughts and make those more intense and try to apply those as much as possible. But let the negative thoughts just ride. You don't take them seriously just because they came into your mind does not mean there needs to be any more of a relationship with that thought. It can just say goodbye just as quickly as it said hello. Instead of taking it seriously, think of yourself more like a baseball player, and this may be an analogy that's better for boys than girls, but even girls can understand. You have two hands on the bat, and a ball comes in, and you hit it out of the park. That's what you need to do with the thoughts. They come in, you use two hands. In other words, you use all your might, you use all your willpower to say, no, you will not come here. I'm sending you back on your way. You hit the pitch out of the park, and you have to keep doing it over and over and over again until it passes out. Eventually, it will pass out and realize, hey, I can't get into Cindy's brain. It's impossible. I'm giving up here. I'm wasting my time. When they realize they're wasting their time, they'll stop sending you pitches. So you got to just go through that phase. And in general, it's just important to know that temptations come in phases, and if you can just wait it out until the next phase, things will get a lot easier. There are times of extreme struggle, and that's when you really have to be hitting the pitches out of the park. But if you can make it, it will either give up, or you will make it to the next phase where the temptation is not as strong. It'll be a lot more easy for you to conquer. Another strategy is to visualize the moments after you've eaten the chocolate cake. What are you going to be thinking? What are you going to be saying to yourself? I'm weak. I'm a loser. Can't believe I did this. I always do this. Think those thoughts now to realize what's going to happen when you eat the chocolate cake. Another general concept that you need to understand is you have two hormones running through your blood that are basically opposites, and one comes from Satan and one comes from God. And one of them is called dopamine, and that you get from like cheating on a test or gossiping about someone else, drinking Coca-Cola, taking crack, cocaine, cheating on your taxes, gambling. It gives you a high, and then it drops, and then you're eternally miserable. Every time you think about it again, you're always going to get more misery from it. Whereas oxytocin is another hormone that catches fire and then just grows and grows and grows, and you're able to feel more and more empowered and more happy as oxytocin grows. But you get that from like cuddling with someone you love, hugging someone, spending time in nature, spending time praying to God, making gratitude lists, being grateful to God and for all that He's done for you. When you're in a relationship like that, that produces more oxytocin. Relationship with someone you love and a relationship with God all create more oxytocin, which is what you want to develop. It's like the 12-step program, because what really is a 12-step program? Accepting a higher power, for getting forgiveness from all your friends for all the things that you did. What does it have to do with breaking my diets, and what does it have to do with my addiction to cocaine? What it has to do with is getting you to get pleasure from the right things. Not dopamine, but oxytocin. Getting pleasure from relationships, connection, love, experience, and not the dopamine high, the video games. Not that kind of high and drop. You want to develop a proclivity, leaning towards getting your pleasure from oxytocin. So that's why being humble and being connected to God, a higher power, is so important in the 12-step program, and why it works. Because once your priorities have changed, you have no more desire for the addictive substance, because you're no longer looking for quick highs. You're looking for more lasting relationships. So that's how the 12-step program works, and now you know. Another concept that you must sort of master is that people have told you that your life is a result of random mutations. There was no guiding hand and there was no purpose. But it's pretty obvious if you look at the complexity of the body and how it all works together, that it was not done by accident. It was very obviously done on purpose. And your life has a purpose, and each scenario that you find yourself in has its own purpose. And it's sort of like driving. We're like always driving, where when the road turns a little bit, we have to turn with it. And when it turns the other way, we have to turn with it. If you think that things are random and you just drive in a random way, you'll get into a car crash, within a few seconds. No, this world was created on purpose, and what you do does matter. And if you think it doesn't, then you're going to have a lot more trouble dealing with temptation. If you think it does matter, then you're going to give it your all and participate in the process and give yourself the best shot at overcoming the temptation. And every moment counts in that case. There's a story with Joseph about how he was thrown into the pit, and the Bible says there was no water. Why does it say there's no water? Because there were actually snakes and scorpions in there. And that's the idea. Water is the idea of having good thoughts about prayer and the Bible. And if you have those thoughts, there's no room for temptation. There's no room for negative thoughts. And that's the biggest strategy that you can use, is just always be filling your head with thoughts of gratitude, thoughts of prayer, asking God for what you want, and studying the Bible and thinking about the Bible and thinking about how you can apply it to your life. If you're full with water, there's going to be no snakes and scorpions. So those are the basic ideas that you need to overcome temptation. No matter what, don't give up, even if you fall. As long as your heart is still beating, God is believing in you and saying, you can go, we're going to keep going, we're going to succeed at this at some point. So just pick yourself up, because it's not perfection that we're after. It's steady improvement. And the more that you defeat these demons on a daily basis and you make it your business to defeat them all the time, the weaker they get, the more they give up on you, the more they pass out. So the stakes are high, but talk to people who have overcome addiction and you will see how great their life has become. They call it a paradise, which is very interesting, because that's what we were, where we were. We were in paradise, and we were kicked out of paradise in the Bible. You can do it. You can succeed and change the course of history through your particular temptation and overcoming it. And a beautiful life is waiting for you on the other end, where you are a better husband, a better wife, a better student, a better son, a better daughter, and where you'll feel truly at peace and truly happy in this world and the next world. And if you need my help, my email is below. I wish you much success, and I know you will succeed in this endeavor. God bless.